You smell what The Rock is cooking.
Acknowledge me.
You don't know what hard times are, Daddy.
We are bad to the bone. Get it? Bad to the bone.
Tell me when I'm telling lies.
I'll fight anybody. Who do you want? Just let me fight him.
Let me tell you something, Jim Ross.
Mega power, yeah.
We got it for you.
We are the best of the best.
Woo! Wheeling dealing.
Smart marks.
And that's the bottom line, cause Stone Cold said so.
Welcome to Talk 'em in the Building, a pro wrestling podcast where we focus on the promo. We talk about the talkers, we hype the hype man, and we pontificate on the promo. If this is your first time listening to us or watching us, check out the back catalog, intothebuilding.com. That's going to take you to all the good stuff we've already done. Like, comment, subscribe. But if this is your first time, this is a group of three co-hosts here. We love pro wrestling, but more than that, we love the promo. And I'm here joined, as always, by the homies, the compadres, the pro wrestling aficionados. I got Greg out in the ATL. What's up, Greg? How you feeling tonight, brother?
Man, I'm feeling good. How are you?
Good. I love the championship look back there. All bulldozing. Hell yeah. And I got my other brother over there in the ATL. We got Adrian. What's going on, bro?
Doing good, man. Doing good. We survived spring. We're in the summer. Let's get it.
Let's do it. And this is Ali, as always, over here in Los Angeles. And guys, man, what a time to be alive in pro wrestling. I feel like you can turn left, you can turn right, and you can essentially find what you want. But I want to talk about what's been on the minds of the internet, of the IWC, of pro wrestling at large. And this was this mask versus mask match in AAA, right? And we had this real interesting build-up over months with particular, celebrities and moving pieces, all done really what started off as a joke, really, and got legitimized. Not to talk, it's getting all these views. I guess my question is, now that WWE is fully entrenched in what they are presenting as Lucha Libre in Mexico, and I know in the past, Triple H had made, try to make inroads. I know there was some talk about buying a Japanese company, right? We know they did it in the UK. So as WWE or any other company, we're talking about defining a culture through wrestling in a way, right? Do you think that wrestling can almost copy how another company builds an angle or a promo, or are those ideas, or in this case, this mask versus mask match, is it only special because culturally, because of where it happened, or can they replicate it? Because it seems like they caught lightning in a bottle, but I don't know. There was something there. There was something that was not formulaic, but can be taken elsewhere. But that's what I think right now. But Adrian, I'm going to come to you because this was something that I think caught a lot of people off guard ultimately.
Yeah, for sure. I think, man, just going back to that match, it was a fantastic match. It was, like we've said in the chat, talking about it, it's pro wrestling done right, man.
Yeah,
that's the type of product that wins fans. That's the kind of product that has casual fans actually caring about what the heck's going on. That's the kind of wrestling that is like a five-year-old kid or a 7-year-old watching it going nuts. And in 20 to 30 years, they're going to be having their own podcast talking about that match. Like, that's how great that match was, in my opinion. Just the whole storyline, build, characters, presentation, like all A1 effort, hands down. But to answer your question, history always repeats itself, especially when it's really, really good. It's so many different elements of storytelling, conflict, and all of that in wrestling past that today's wrestling could replicate in their own unique way. And I guarantee it can win over more fans. I really do think that match is a prime example of that. Mask versus mask. If you've been involved in Lucha Libre or enjoyed the product, you know that this is a tradition. This is a traditional thing. This is something that we've had some of the greatest professional wrestlers to come out of Mexico on their way out.
Yep.
This is tradition. You know what I'm saying? So I think that WWE could replicate it. I think AEW could replicate something like that, but it takes that investment. It takes that buy-in, and that's really on the companies to really present it as such.
And it's one of those things that you mentioned. It's presentation is everything, right? And that's what everybody's coming back to. But isn't it interesting, this dichotomy? This sounds like two different planets where they would wrestle in Mexico, and it was magnificent. It was chaotic. It was like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is the feud. And then they'd have the same match on Raw, and crickets. That always struck me as weird. But Greg, I'm going to come to you with the same question, but maybe taking that lead there. It almost seemed like they operated in two distinct universes here, even though the end product everybody loved, right?
But they are different, and I think this was a dichotomy of what wrestling is going back. And you hear it if you ever listen to Something to Wrestle. Bruce Pritchard used to always say fans of WCW and WWE were different. Our fans did not know WCW. WCW fans knew WWE. And that's today's world. AEW is different. TNA is different. And what this is WWE fans that are watching Raw and SmackDown kind of didn't get the whole El Grande Americano, and they didn't invest in it. Let's call it what it was. They did not truly invest in it.
Yeah.
They kind of treated it as a comedy
for different reasons, though.
Yeah,
and
100%.
Different reasons that now I love the fact that it's kind of put out right in front of their face. Like it's like you gotta stand in it. For those people that crapped on the concept of that gimmick, and now they have to actually watch and see somebody like a Dave Meltzer praise it. Like, dude, this is the greatest thing ever. And it's just funny. It's funny for me, especially.
It is funny. And I think the cool thing is, and nobody saw this coming. Let's call it what it is. Nobody saw El Grande Americano get over like that in AAA. Nobody saw that coming. And then, let's also don't get it twisted. His little lawsuit issue didn't hurt. But, I mean, that whole thing gives me confidence that WWE knows AAA is not us. It hasn't been booked like NXT. It hasn't been booked like they think about what they've done in the past. They took over ECW and whitewashed it, right? They just take all this out, take that out, take this out, let's make it vanilla. They haven't done that, and hopefully they won't, because that was a fear of mine when they started sprinkling in Dom and others,
immediately, right? As soon as they acquired it, as soon as they announced that.
Now you look at it, and you're like, damn, it makes sense. Because you said, can they replicate this? Let's go back. Let's don't take the mask versus mask. WWE failed at this same storyline one other time with Sin Cara. We had original Sin Cara, then we had Dark Sin Cara, then we had and they tried to tell the story and it just fell flat. And it wasn't all the storytelling. Neither one were connecting with the audience. As hard as they pushed it, but when you were talking about that, I was like, wait, they totally failed with Sin Cara, and they tried their best because you had two of them. Because remember, one got hurt, and then
similar,
and there was a story behind it, but it didn't work. But this one worked, and they know it worked. And that's why I think when they first announced that they were going to show that match after Raw on Netflix, I was like, what? Like,
that's massive.
and hyped it throughout the entire show. I was like, oh, they know. They know.
So was that a part of the Raw broadcast, or was it like a special presentation?
Special presentation after the show went off.
Okay.
And actually they rolled credits, since you didn't see the end. They do the little executive producers, and they kind of pan out. Then they came back to Corey and Cole, and Corey mainly talked about it and said, you got to stay tuned for this. This is what's coming up. Boom, 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 boom. And they went right into it.
Nice. That's cool. That's cool.
And to kind of compare and contrast a little bit with what you said with the original Sin Cara, right? And then Místico and you know, you could just go on and on with that. Like that was troubled from the beginning. Just clearly they wanted to make the next Rey Mysterio. That's always a play, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they fall in with it with the right circumstances. Penta was already a veteran. And it's funny because now Místico's had this career resurgence.
Killing
and he's
it.
like the top draw in Mexico. Exactly.
Yeah.
So clearly always had the talent. Maybe wasn't ready for you know, that main stage, but also it was presented oddly, right? Like why have the lights and everything, but and even the character, right? But here the common thread, there's two people that I would give the credit to, and you touched on them both already. One is exactly Corey, because he understands like lucha libre. His brother wrestled in Mexico, like he made his career in Mexico, right? But Kaiser, the more I've dug into how much he was like knowledgeable about Mexican culture, what lucha libre is. Apparently, his dad wrestled in Mexico. He was at least around in Mexico, right? He talks about his dad listening to Mexican music and him liking Mexican culture enough that it's this interview with Penta, and Penta's like, you know, peppering him with like, is that true? Like, and he's asking a very basic question that for me was a little litmus test. He asked him like songs he likes, music he likes, Mexican music. The dude's probably more Mexican than me in some cases because like he was
giving deep cuts.
He was like Pedro Infante and like, you know, like Molotov, crazy stuff that I'm like, yo, it's like, but what did it, like, whether it was in character or not, I like to believe he's not because he's dating a Mexican, the announcer, and he teared us like I never felt in the 10 years that I was in the States. I never felt like I was I was accepted. And here, almost without saying, like under a mask and them knowing I'm not really Mexican, here I am. So I think there's an element of investment too from him to make the character work. Because truthfully, like, let's be real, they kind of fell in their lap with the injury under kind of the Místico thing again.
100%.
But again,
100%.
I don't want, and I don't want to drop, you know, keep saying like, well, under the old guard, but the reality is it's a new era, right? And I think, Greg, you're onto something where it's like, if they did, you know, I know we all feel some kind of way about them having inroads in different countries because you don't want to have McDonald's as WWE, but they are already. But I can see them, you know, buying up a promotion in Japan and giving it the WWE polish, but keeping those elements culturally that work.
But
right.
There's one other unsung hero here. It's not Taker. It's Borash.
Yeah.
Borash is a huge piece of this.
Yep.
And he gets it. And I think he gets that type of audience. I mean, what can you say about this dude? Like, literally, everything he touches has done well. I mean, from the Broken Universe to every single thing. And now he's in here helping run this thing. And, I mean, you can't argue that AAA isn't bigger now. You truly can't. And it's huge in Mexico, but you see it infiltrating across a little bit more mainstream. And to their credit, WWE has not inundated us with it. They've talked about it. They sprinkled it in the right way. If you take a casual, wait, what's that belt Dom has? So you have these little things that are being sprinkled in here and there, but they haven't just been in your face with it, where they have been with stuff in the past. And it's like, but I think the other part, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Ali, because you definitely know more than me. When I've heard them talk about AAA in the past, and they talked about a Puerto Rican acting like they're a Mexican, and it's like, nope, it don't work. Like, they just know. They just freaking know. Because it's not genuine. There's something that you're faking the funk, right? In this case, it's the opposite. But I think it's because he is being real at the same time, not trying to be something he's not, because there's a comedy piece to it. There's a this is what I'm going to be, but there's also a realness to it that says, I know the language. And I don't just know the language, I know Mexican Spanish. And it's like, I understand the slang, and I've heard others talk about it, and I'm like, because I don't know it, but I'm like, man, it's just some connection. Dude, and sometimes you can't explain that connection.
You hit it 1,000%. You knocked it out of the ballpark, because that's what it is. It's him, like you being at a construction site, right? And it's all the you know, or at a kitchen or in the office or wherever there's going to be raza there. And here comes the güero, right? Gringo over here. And he's not like, hey, fellas. They're like, órale, compa, ¿cómo estamos? And it's like a very specific way of speaking Spanish. That's not like, you're not going to learn it in a textbook. You're going to learn it being out with the people. And of course, he's around like a bunch of luchadores. But he's probably the one that already had picked up on it and just embraced it, right? So that, I mean, I think it's any culture when you can endear yourself to the culture in that way of like, hey, I'm just going to talk like everybody else does. It's cool, you know. And you're right that whole business with the cops probably helped because.
but you know, we did an episode.
Even the fake rumor, if it wasn't true.
We did an episode, and I don't remember which one it was, but we talked about characters, and we talked about investing in characters. I've heard Pritchard and others talk about how Terry Taylor didn't invest in the Red Rooster and could it have worked, could it not? But you see others who did invest, whether it's you know, whatever it may be. I mean, like R-Truth invests in that, right? There's or Santino or others. This is an example where he truly invested in this character, where I don't think Chad Gable ever would have. Yeah. Gable invested to a ceiling. Like he hit a certain part, and I think he felt like this is where I'm at. Then he got hurt, so we don't know where he goes after that, right? But Kaiser in and said, "I'm making this freaking thing work," and took it over to the point that that there was chatter like, "What do you do when Gable's back?"
Right.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest.
No, I remember I said it. I said that gimmick's gone, brother. Yeah. Like I was like, it's a wrap on that, man. It's a wrap.
And then when Gable did come back, I was like, oh, they're gonna drop the ball on this. I wasn't sure if I liked the whole original versus new, and I was like, we gonna kill this.
Yeah. But we landed the plane, man. They landed the damn plane.
I think what's going to be interesting is where does Gable go from here? Because I have no earthly idea. I mean, he's good in the ring. He's Shelton. And I'm not a big Shelton fan. I mean, at the end of the day, Shelton's a great wrestler in the ring.
Yeah,
that's it. He needs to go back to Mexico, and if they never need to unmask Grande. Just keep him that way. Let him retire. Let him round up his contract, and it is what it is, because that whole dynamic was awesome. The unmasking, like you said, like the people gave Gable his flowers like right away. Definitely. Like and here's the thing, like I think I said something slightly racist, like, oh, the construction site, or like this. I'm like, I wasn't even saying it to say that. I mean, the fact that people are showing up in Mexico and selling out these buildings. Like, people don't know, like, Mexicans have money, yo. Like, there's rich Mexicans too. Like, Mexico City is a bigger city than like LA and New York in some ways. It's like it's a metropolis. So like, people are showing up, and you said something earlier, Greg, about like how it in the past, or like how they're booking it now. And AAA was supposed to be like an extreme offshoot of CMLL, because CMLL was so traditional, and with that comes also poor production values and people stepping online. So if you ever saw Triple Manias from before they took over, they were a chore to get through, because they're constantly just production errors, detection. That's gone. Now we can focus on the product, and I'm really looking forward to it. Hell, I might go to Vegas at this point.
I thought the same thing.
I'm like, may not Mexico City, because but I'll go to Vegas for sure. But anyway, I'm glad y'all are kind of catching it. And again, anybody who hasn't checked it out, do yourselves like the biggest favor this year. Go check out that match. It's free. There's no excuse. Go check it out. Go stick around for the whole ceremony. And man, I can't say enough about that whole build. But,
So one last thing on that, and it's not necessarily about that part. This still blows my mind. So let's go back to WrestleMania in Miami. I can't remember the numbers. Somebody will tell me. I don't remember what it was. It was a once in a lifetime part 2, I think, or 1, or whatever it was. But there's that match that on the stage, there's Shawn, Triple H, and Undertaker, who are running the freaking wrestling world right now as bookers. That's crazy to me. I mean, it's just... For the longest, I kept saying DX is running the world, and now we got that picture that we've all seen where they're all standing there, and is literally running WWE.
Did you catch at the end when Grande Americano was like saying goodbye to the crowd? You know what's drowning out like the cheers? It's Undertaker chants.
Really?
Wow.
It was crazy. Or under tacos, apparently, is what they're calling them online. So.
That's fun.
Anywho. So yeah, but yeah, Greg made a good point. Go check out the back catalog. We've covered Jeremy Borash, we've covered elements of AAA, and yeah, do yourself a favor, check us out, and yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in the back catalog as always. But gentlemen, the matter of tonight is one that I think is not talked about enough in pro wrestling, even though we go through cycles of it every couple of years. And in the same sense that we were at the edge of our seat waiting to see who would be unmasked as El Grande Americano Chaparro, we were all surprised it was Gable. But there's been other surprises in pro wrestling, and today we're going to focus on cliffhangers. So the cliffhangers are the whodunits of pro wrestling, right? Not since Who Shot JR or Who Shot Mr. Burns, or, we go down the line in TV history here. But there's always these elements of, pro wrestling being episodic, and you're trying to create suspense. And it's a little bit awkward sometimes when it all has to happen in a pro wrestling ring, but it can be fun. So we're going to be taking a look at a few promos here that build up a character to varying degrees of success. I am going to lean on you guys today because there are some clips where I can provide context, but I think between Adrian, and myself, I think we're going to give it a little more life and more context. So join me here as we get into this cliffhanger business over here. So a while ago, actually not too long ago, I think we were all watching this. If anyone remembers, there was a big angle that had to do with one of the greatest superstars of all time. And my memory was fuzzy because I just remembered mostly the end of it. But this was who ran over Stone Cold Steve Austin. I didn't realize how much lead up there was to the reveal. So I'll bring you today a clip, an in-ring clip. If you thought there was a lot of Hall of Famers on that stage at WrestleMania, Greg, check out how many Hall of Famers are here. Let's take a look. And it's Mick Foley getting us started as he talks about who ran over Stone Cold Steve.
Give you the opportunity to address the fans right here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Well, Triple H made a convincing argument that he didn't run over Stone Cold King, but
You just hold on a second, mister.
pointed
You
the finger
too.
at Kurt Angle.
And you too. In order to find out who ran down Stone Cold Steve Austin, what we ought to be looking for is motive.
Motive?
What could be my motive? I beat guys in the Olympic Games a lot tougher than Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's true. It's true.
Well, I may argue that point, King. Well, I don't know.
And why would I take out a guy just because he's a foul-mouthed, beer-drinking, trash-talking, poor role model for children everywhere?
I mean, you don't drink that much beer.
Wait a minute, why is everybody looking at me? Why are you looking at me? Hold on a second. Why are you looking at S.A. Rios? Why can't it be him?
S.A. Rios?
Huh? Why not S.A.? I mean, everybody knows it's always the quiet ones. And who knows? Maybe Stone Cold Steve Austin stole his green card. I don't know.
Uh-oh, that could be. Now, boy. S.A. Rios?
Yo no te entiendo nada. No sé de lo que hablas. Aquí en todos.
What do you
See what I'm talking about? I think that was Spanish for, I'm a bad man, and I should be punished. It's true.
Oh,
it's
come on,
true.
Kurt. Well, you know he couldn't read a stop sign. He can't even speak English.
And that's what I think, Mick. And if it wasn't him, if it wasn't S.A., then obviously it had to be Triple H and DX. And that is true.
We're back to square one. Triple H. Wait a minute.
DX,
Hey, that's a bunch of crap. You know what? I'm sick and tired of everybody pointing the finger at Triple H, pointing the finger at me, or my friends. Well, you want to know what? We didn't do it, but I know who did.
What?
Just think back. Survivor Series. Somebody just coming into the WWF around that time. Kind of got up to a mediocre start. Well, if you go back and look at the tape, you'll find that it was that rock and roll star wannabe Y2J that ran over Austin.
X-Pac say Y2J did it. Why would Jericho do something like that? I don't know. I think this is a little personal issue here between these two guys. They're trying to incriminate each other. Personally, I think it was
Y2J, what do you say? Did you run over the Texas Rattlesnake?
Hold on 1 second. Hold on a second, Junior. Okay?
Junior.
As much as I would like to believe that it was your scrawny who ran Austin down, I think if you watch that videotape, you'll see that it was impossible for you to be driving that car. Yeah, that's true, because you were too busy involved in the valiant and brave task of setting Austin up and locking him in the parking garage in the first place.
Hey, that's true. You remember that? I do. It is true.
I think that Mr. Kirk Angel had the best point of all when he brought up motives. Who had the biggest motive to take Austin out of the picture? Who hated Austin more than anybody else? Whose problem with Austin transcended business and became 100% personal?
As a regular Sherlock Holmes.
Mick, I think if you look at it that way, it's quite obvious, especially after what Austin did to her nerdy brother. What Austin did to her genetic jackhammer.
At one point, Undertaker's out there. I mean, it is a who's who of pro wrestling. It is wild. But Greg, I'm going to come to you because I blocked out a lot of this because I remember watching it, but I remember the roster being out there like day players for the Fallout. What are your memories, or what are your thoughts on kind of these kind of promos where you're, everybody's in gimmick, but trying to treat it seriously almost?
I barely remember this. I'm not going to lie.
Yes.
I may have checked out at this time. Maybe I'm thinking, because I remember, I think I was kind of on the fringe watching, but I don't remember this at all. And to me, this is too much. I mean, like when I see this, it's just too much. And watching Foley there and didn't see him on AEW, I cannot stand him in these roles. I'm sorry. It just seems so forced and so I can't take him serious. And I think that's my issue. I can have a hard time suspending disbelief during that time frame. The same thing the other night while I'm watching AEW with him. It's just I like Foley as a wrestler and I think he adds, but in these types of roles, I just don't see it. And that makes this whole segment worse to me. The whole S.A. Rios thing, we got to throw some comedy in here. I don't know. I didn't like it at all. All. I just didn't feel, I mean, let's call it what it is. If you want me to suspend disbelief, some dude got hit by a freaking car. And so what we do, we call everybody to the ring and let's just have a little fun about it. Really? Dude got hit by a car. And we just talked about recreating stuff. Go back to Memphis. Okay, here's everybody's history lesson. Go back to Memphis when they tried to run over Jeff Jarrett with the car or Jerry Lawler with the car, and they treated it extremely serious.
Yeah.
And how they acted back then and contrast it to this is a drop of the ball to me.
Well, it just seemed like, I mean, and it's, I'm going to say this almost in the pejorative way, but it's like community theater at its worst.
Yeah.
And I say that knowing community theater is actually pretty good. Like people care. People are trying, right? This was so disjointed, right? It was like, what are we trying to do here? And I cut it off. At one point, Undertaker comes in and it's like, like throwing slurs at Stephanie, and everybody's laughing. I was like, "You're the Undertaker. Why are you talking that way?" Mind you, he's like biker now and stuff, but it was just weird. Anyway, it just makes sense, like just the build. And there's like backstage stuff where they basically extended it with later like Stone Cold basically being detective and asking everybody. But Adrian, do you remember anything of like? Does this ring a bell at all? Because again, don't remember at all.
Nah, man. I think I blanked that out because that segment alone proves the reason why I don't remember that. It went on way too long. It was way too many characters there. And it's like you said, what's the end game? Like what's actually going to be the conflict? Just imagine being there in the live audience and having to sit through that. Like, I know wrestling was on fire at that point, and people are just like, man, it's WWF.
Right.
It's Stone Cold Rock. And like you said, it's just all of these stars. But it was just going on and on and on. It was like a whodunit murder mystery thing. It was weird. I don't know. It went on way too long. It's other ways of presenting something like that. If they just limit it to backstage segments and have like a goofy character be the detective. Like, I know he's not there at the time, but somebody like Santino, imagine a Santino with a Sherlock Holmes hat and a pipe or something, like if you're going to do something goofy, like what you're currently doing with the best stars of your roster, do it the right way, man. Have Kurt Angle, Edge and Christian. That era of Edge and Christian, so that one could be Sherlock Holmes, other can be Watson. Like, that could be a backstage segment throughout that whole episode. But I don't know. Just having X-Pac, it was awful. It was bad. It wasn't good. It was not good.
Because you heard the chant right away.
Yeah, right.
And what's wild is you're sitting there watching this, and this is why people got mad about writers, because you got Angle,
right?
Just what we saw: Angle, Rock, Triple H, Foley,
gosh, dude,
Jericho, and you can throw in X-Pac.
Yeah,
some of the greatest talkers ever. And this is what you're getting? You kidding me?
Rough.
Like, if you had just let them go, like if you said, go out there, take this serious and blast each other, I guarantee it'd have been better than that. I mean,
for sure.
I just floored.
Yeah.
And Vince was like eating it up, like, it's like, this is awesome. Let's do it for another 2 months.
Jesus Christ.
But it's crazy because you're right. It's like, either you go the comedy route and you just be silly about it, right?
Yeah.
Like, you bring out Santino with the Sherlock Holmes costume, or to your point, Greg, you let everybody have at it and say like, well, no, this is my motivation, this is that, and he's my whatever. Create alliances, double cross people. There's so many ways you can have other storylines pay off with this just being the big driving force. But it's so weird because you see the Dudleys like in full gimmick with the glasses, is like, and they're playing it straight. I'm like, I don't want to see them like this. Like, what are we doing here? It was weird. And when I unearthed this, I was like, did this happen? I was watching wrestling at the time, like, for sure. Like, that's the Rock I like. That's the the $500 shirt and everything. Like, where did this go? I do remember the aftermath and eventually that whole angle getting blown off and being terrible. But anyway, that's besides the point.
It did it for The Rock.
It did it for The Rock. And then apparently his sons had to like defend them in school a lot because of that angle. So yeah. I can't say they got bullied, but definitely the Usos felt it for sure. So we're gonna kind of close that one out, and we're gonna go dig deep a little further back. And this one, Greg, I might need your help to fill in the gaps because I'm pretty I believe you've mentioned this one before, but we've never studied it. So this goes back to WCW. Is it NWA WCW? I'm not sure, but it's definitely WCW, and it's one Sting who now has a nemesis and has someone that's gonna uncover his secrets. And here he is talking to the one and only Gordon Soley.
I was.
Bring Gordon in, please. Gordon, I hope that you found your trip to your liking.
Well, I frankly got to say this is the most demeaning thing I've ever gone through. Why all the
You don't have to say anything. I brought you
Is that Oli?
a message.
Yeah.
But I will grant you some time in which you may ask me some questions.
Well, first of all, why the blindfold?
To keep my identity a secret. You're the only person other than Sting who has been this close to the Black Scorpion.
Well, all right, the question is, and of course it's on everybody's mind, you've made these comments, but you've never said what the real reason behind your wishing to get at Sting.
I don't have to tell you. I don't have to tell anybody. The idea is for Sting to think. I want Sting to be driven mad. I want Sting to look back on his life. Remember, Gordon, Sting and I, at one time, knew each other very well, I might add.
Well, that was in California, if I remember correctly, that you made the statement.
Well, I said California, but ask Sting this. Ask Sting about Tulsa.
Tulsa?
Yes, Tulsa, Gordon. See what he says. Look at his reaction. Maybe he'll remember something.
Well, very frankly, if you don't mind, Scorpion,
I do mind.
Well,
I think our interview is almost over.
Yeah, say what you have to say and let me go, please.
Well, Gordon, consider yourself lucky. You'll be able to leave the clutches of the Black Scorpion. Sting won't be quite so lucky. Remember, Sting, while Sid is after your belt, I'm after your soul.
Well, as I said, certainly of a very bizarre situation.
I believe it started off as a joke that they had to run through, and I watched so many shoot interviews on this, and I was still like, wow, did they let this go on so long? But Greg, can you fill in the historical kind of gaps here? Because, brother, that was something else.
Yeah, I know when it first started, and this is as a Falco fan first. I thought it was gonna be Angel of Death. Angel of Death was in the UWF.
Right.
And most fans that I knew, we all thought it was gonna be somebody from the UWF, and the UWF being Mid South, because that's where Sting came from. So we're like, is it gonna be maybe a Rick Steiner? Was it gonna be Eddie Gilbert? Was it gonna be Angel of Death? All these different thoughts, right? It had to come from there because it's somebody from his past. We knew it wasn't gonna be Warrior because he was hot and heavy up in New York, but now you hear all the shoot interviews, and I do remember even it being rumored at the time Al Perez, and then later on you find out it was Al Perez for a while, but
it was.
they had no end game. It was like, we must write this story and figure it out. But and it's just like, wait, how do you not have an idea? And I'll come back to that in a second, but I remember everybody just like, it's Flair? That's really? And the moment he came out and it was Ric Flair, everybody knew it was Ric Flair. Because, God forbid he tries to wrestle like somebody else. No, he came out and wrestled just like Ric Flair. So it was like, didn't even try to do anything that wasn't Ric Flair, which was crazy because earlier, like in other matches or other things, he didn't look like Ric Flair, act like Ric Flair,
right?
Nothing. And then that match he came out and it's like, oh, that's Ric Flair. From the moment he walked out. That was one of the worst reveals of all time.
I held up the 4 not because of the Horseman, because it was 4 months of this.
Wow.
That meandered. Jesus.
Yeah.
And again, Greg, you're right. They paid it, and there was like, well, they were already feuding. Like, what was the point of that? But Adrian, I love how Gordon like tries to play it so straight, and even he can't save the segment. Like it's it's dead in the water, like right away.
It's no saving. It's no saving that, man. It's no saving that at all. Shout out to Oli for always being the voice of the mask, the serious person for some odd reason. But yeah, that was awful, man. That was
like
awful.
toy synthesizer, like Darth Vader style or something.
Right. Exactly.
My favorite one is like everybody is like universally agree. Like, you know, we watch student interviews. Everybody has like Cornette has this say, and like, you know, like everybody has like a very different perspective. This is a unifier. Like everybody agrees this was just poorly executed. And again, to Greg's point, is like they could have done something with it. It was almost like they had to go through with it. And like, oh, it's kind of a jokey thing. Well, now we have to see it through because it's out there, basically. And they never had a good payoff for it. I'm sure Flair got some good money on the offside of it. Like, that's about it.
But what's funny, and I'm gonna keep going back to this. You talked about in the very first segment, y'all. I'm gonna keep going back to it.
Yeah.
Do we do things on repeat? Yep. If you may remember, fast forward, and we had the higher power.
Yeah.
WWE. They had no payoff for that either. They didn't know who that was going to be. Allegedly, it was going to be Christopher Daniels at one point, but it was not. It was never, because if you've ever heard Pritchard talk about it, and you've heard Cornette talk about it, or others, they didn't know who it was going to be. It was not going to be Vince, and it ended up being Vince. And so I'm like, so it's not the first time that they've, people have come out here, or the last time that somebody was, hey, let's create this character and let's book it and go, who's going to be? I don't know. We're just gonna figure it out as we go. Let's just see what happens.
That's like soap opera booking.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh man, and that's very American soap opera, because I remember Mexican soap operas had an end. Like they would end. It would be like 50 episodes in there, and then I remember I started watching American soap operas, and I'm like, oh, this don't have an end point.
No, they're still going.
This is pro wrestling. Like straight
Days
up.
of Our Lives has been off like 50 years.
Right?
Legit.
And then,
like 50 years.
Isn't there like a Ghost Boy character? I just remember some wild stuff. Like I'd be homesick. I'm like, let me turn on Price is Right. Oh, Days of Our Lives. I'm like, oh, so weird. It's weird character. But going back to this one, it's like, it's I don't know. It was just something. It was something funny about the fact that we're so nostalgic about the past. Like, oh, it used to be this. I'm like, no, like what? There was bad stuff back then. Oh. So it's like there was some poor execution, no matter what era you're in, man. Like, it doesn't matter.
And what's funny is, so we just talked about Triple H and Undertaker and Shawn booking.
Yeah.
And you think, okay, these dudes were fans, and so now they're booking to certain audiences and all that. This is freaking Ole Anderson booking this.
Yeah, dude.
Like the same dude that booked some crazy stuff in Georgia Championship Wrestling, and you're booking the Black Scorpion. Like, I don't get it. Like, I just don't understand. And Dusty did the same stuff, so it's not just isolated there.
Right.
Flair did the same stuff. And this is that product of, hey, let's try to be WWE or whatever we're trying to be, characters. We don't know what we're trying to be, but it's just flooring to sit there and look at that and go, Ole booked this? Like, you would think Ole would get kicked out for booking too serious of stuff, right?
Man. Hey, man, but that Christopher Daniels booking, that would have been dope. Like him in Fallen Angel style. That's right in. That's corporate ministry right there. Okay, so we go from these like wannabe serious pieces to a little bit of community theater with that first segment. We're gonna pay it off right, fellas. We're gonna pay it off right. And Adrian, I think you deserve like a retro check from WWE, because I think you wrote this next segment. I really do. Somehow, I don't know, you jumped in the time machine right now. Maybe you opened to like a different dimension, and you had the book back in the early 10s. But we're gonna go to Raw, and we're gonna go to one of the most infamous segments in Raw history, and that is a certain reveal. Just let it play out. So the only setup is Michael Cole is in the ring, and he's won a match by default, according to the anonymous G.
That is enough. You see, I of this arena. And I have come to the conclusion that if their anonymous Raw general manager is indeed here tonight, there is only one place left he or she could be, and that is under the ring.
Unfortunately, I remember this.
The anonymous GM says, no, I'm not. There is absolutely no one under the ring sending anonymous emails. Leave the ring now. That's an order.
That sounds like a clue.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hornswoggle? Are you telling me you're the one that's been causing all of this misery? I ought to put you over my knee and give you a spanking. Oh!
Man, now
These
that
are dark
I do
times,
have-
man. Dark times,
I have
man.
tunnel vision during those years, bro. But you called it, and it's almost like we're preconditioned to think about these things, right?
Yeah,
Like who would do it. But bro, that's what do you remember? Because I just remember a lot, but I don't remember everybody else in the ring. I just remember the deal.
Yeah, I mean, when it came to the anonymous general manager, I understood why they were doing it in the sense of you're building. I mean, it gets to a point where it's super annoying, especially with the notification and the lights and all of that. It could be funny. It should be funny, but it wasn't really. But it was also annoying. So I get it. That made sense. But that payoff made zero sense. Like it was like, what? Swaggle? What? Like didn't.
Yeah.
But that was also like that was literally one of the lowest points for me as a wrestling fan watching WWE. That was like, man, this is rough, man. Like I can't really consistently watch WWE because of stuff like that. That was a weekly thing. The variety show, like I like variety show, but that was a weird variety show during that time.
And it's so weird because you look at the timeline, and it's like at that point, there was for me, I feel, at least personally, I'll speak. I feel like there was this whole dead period. Punk, obviously, like the pipe bomb, everything happens, but that doesn't save everything. And it's not till like 2015, 2016 that it's like, so there's a good 3 or 4 years where it's a lot of this, right? It's a lot of
doldrums, man,
kind of nonsensical, and you're like, I could literally skip a month and I ain't missing a thing. And that, so for everybody listening that's complaining or making your opinion known, do it, please. But just remember, there have been some rougher times now creatively. A little note that I brought up a couple pods ago, and I was talking about going to a Q&A for Krista Joseph, who was one of the head writers on WWE a few years ago before he became the head writer at Lucha Underground. And he talks about how whenever the staff was up the wall or didn't have a resolution, i.e. here, i.e. Vince's son, the default was always Hornswoggle. So if they're like, well, make it Hornswoggle because this is a dead storyline. It doesn't. We're gonna laugh it off.
You can at least laugh at it. Yeah,
exactly. So this is the example for it. But Greg, were you kind of in the same? Did you have the blinders on at some point during this era?
Yeah, and here's the thing. I was different than most about the anonymous GM. Also, it did get on my nerves a little bit. The night they say can't take over the top, but it had potential to have a good and serious payoff.
Yeah.
There was a place that you could have gone with it. I mean, there was, and I don't remember who all was on the roster at the time, but there's a bunch of people you could have just had them be revealed, and it would have been interesting had they put some storylines to it, right? I mean, it could have been somebody trying to get back into company. It could have been all kinds of stuff, but you could see they just gave up on it, and it was just like, all right, and then and here's how you know they gave up on it. Look at the people in the ring.
True. Very true. Very
Just
true.
call it what it is.
Very
They're not
true.
even mid-carders at best. You have Cole, you have two announcers, Hornswoggle, and Santino.
Yeah.
And as great as Santino is, funny and all that kind of stuff, he's got to have people to play off of. And those were not the right people to play off of. So that's all you need to know. Look at the players. Earlier, so think about that. The first clip you brought, they were invested. Now, we didn't like it, but you cannot argue what they had in the ring.
That was the top of the line right there.
100%.
Yeah.
And this was, this was
the other extreme of it.
Yeah.
This was bad.
And it kind of goes to show something that we've talked about, so we're blue in the face here, but it's not that hard, right?
No.
It's just don't insult the audience. Make it logical. It doesn't have to be even complicated, right? Like we just talked about the mask versus mask match. There was nothing complicated. It's like, here's two dudes. They have the same character, and one of them's going to get unmasked. That's it, right? And so many times it's like, clearly here it's a blow-off, so I get that. But all these segments, it's like, if there's no end goal, it's like any good TV show. I mean, I could point to so many that I've watched over the years, but like Lost or heck, even The Boys, if you've been watching recently, where it's like, here's this end and it just kind of peters out and it doesn't do justice to the players, to everybody else that's making the story happen. So it was just really revealing, like throughout these clips, to see, like, like you said, that was a really good way of explaining it. The best of the best, right, for the company and historically ever, to now these comedy characters, and in any case, it's essentially the same ending. It's like, well, that didn't work.
So here's the question: how many times can you think of one of these cliffhangers, as you put it, paid off well?
Man,
ever.
The only ones I can think of, and I wouldn't even compare them to these because I think they live in their own universe. I've been like NXT style. So like there was like, I didn't bring that clip, but it was a Gargano one that he had a feud with Aleister Black. Back when Aleister Black was really hot, he was coming off like the Indies, PWG, the whole thing. And it was like similar, like there was an injury and like whodunit type of thing. And Gargano cuts these real intense promos, but again, that is the difference. They're taken seriously. They're played for legitimacy, not for a joke, right? Parking lot brawl, stuff like that, where like, who got hurt. But again, NXT, I almost keep it over here in its own universe because it's like, it's a little pressure cooker. Like they do their deal, they get seasoned, and they're off, and then they become something else in the main roster a lot of the time.
And there have been good ones. I'm just asking you guys. Adrian, can you think of any? I can't. There's a couple I could think of.
The one that I'm immediately thinking of, and I'm kind of questioning my memory or whatnot, oddly, was Vampiro immediately revealed to be Penta?
No.
I think that would fall in line with that because it was a good time period where when Penta,
that was a cool reveal. You're right.
Lucha Underground was debuted. His whole motivation, his storyline was here. He's doing these sacrifices for his master, and everyone's like, "Who's his master?" And you don't ever see him on screen, but then Vampiro is revealed to be the
He's
master
been there the whole time.
And so I would say that one landed for me.
It's a good pull. Yep.
And it actually went right into what their match that I always loved, that gift that was awesome just through the memories of that. But that would be my example.
I think one that popped to me more recent is the Naomi Jade That was good.
Oh
That
yeah,
was
yeah,
pulled
yeah,
off
for
well.
sure.
That was
Yeah,
pulled off well, and because
sure.
that was something that lasted for a while, and
Yeah.
and there have been good ones. This one wasn't very long, but I'm going to come back to the Danhausen one. But Foley being in the box with Sting in like 1990, 1991, somewhere in that area, he was a gift, and he beat the living crap out of of Sting, leading into a hell of a feud. But then you had the opposite, where Danhausen's had two reveals that fell flat at first, but he flipped them. Like the first one, him coming in, there was unless it had been Jericho, nothing else was going to land right.
Yeah.
And he comes out, it's a total failure. The next night he flips it around. Call it what it is. But that's him. That's him being able to do that.
Yeah.
But then when he brought out the little Danhausens or Little Hausens,
El Torito,
it kind of went.
Yeah.
But then between Torito and him, they brought it right back up, right?
Yeah.
And I thought that was cool. But I think there's just not a lot that have been, to me, most of them fall flat because you raise the expectations so high that it's almost like, who would it be? Even go back to that first one, the Black Scorpion. Angel of Death wouldn't have landed that big because most people didn't watch the UWF. So they're not going to know who he is unless you told a hell of a story.
Fair.
At that point, unless it had been Warrior, it's not going to be huge. It's just there's Rikishi, that whole thing with Austin.
Yeah.
If you're not going to do the obvious, one of the people in the ring, who does it land with, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes I think you set yourself up for failure with some of these.
Yeah. And, to that end, it's just like, what do you do with them after? Because, like, the whole allure, the whole, the mystery is like, well, yeah, who is this person? Then once they're revealed, it's like, okay, well, get him back in the line. You're another wrestler. What difference does that make? Unless you're like a Danhausen that can just make fun of himself and everybody loves it, So that's a big reveal. But tell us in the comments, or tell us what are your cliffhangers. What are your thoughts? Or have some of them worked for you? To the listeners, check out the back catalog as always, and like, comment, subscribe. If you have any show ideas for us, we get into it, but this is a fun one because I don't think we'd ever talked about any kind of like ideas of cliffhangers and whatnot, but we're open to ideas. And this is always it's always funny to go back to especially to eras that I thought I remembered well, and clearly we didn't because we probably iced these out. I can definitely say 2005 to 2006, 7 WWE is like is a big blank spot for me. I remember elements of it.
That's how trauma works sometimes, man.
But check out the back catalog, intothebuilding.com. But this is going to be us for tonight, guys. And check us out next time here on Talk 'em in the Building. From Greg, from Adrian, this is Adalid. See y'all. Peace.
You don't know what hard times are, Daddy.